Did you want to quit over the last year?
Of course. I wanted to quit before I started. I literally said to my team, I'm not doing comedy. I am not a comedian. And they kept telling me, then you're going to keep being a refinancer. And I was like, I'm a comedian.
All right, you guys, it seems like every day a new viral video star hits our collective radars with a funny rant, and most of them disappear after their 15 seconds of fame. Some of them may carry on with a comedy career or a book deal, but what my guest Heather Land has done in the last year firmly establishes her not as a social media sensation, but actually a talented comedian and a true entrepreneur. Also known as the I Ain't Doing It lady, skyrocketed in popularity after her CrossFit rant surpassed 23 million views. In her 1-minute sketches, which she initially posted as a dare, you guys, she uses the largemouth Snapchat filter, which does modulate her voice and distorts her face. Does that filter add to the humor? Yes, but the clever writing is what set her up for lasting success. Talk about making the most out of an opportunity. You guys, she quickly landed a 2-book publishing deal, a country music album that's currently in the top 100,000 of all Amazon paid albums, and she launched a 30-city comedy tour. A smart entertainer, most of her work is owned and distributed by her own company, Landslide Productions. Social media is more crowded than ever, and today's viewer has a painfully short attention span and an even worse memory, so I had to ask her, how did she do all of that, and how did she do it so fast? If you are a creative, if you are a mompreneur, if you are someone who wants to stand out on social media, or maybe you want to be a full-time blogger or vlogger, you will love this interview with Heather Land.
Thank you guys for joining me for another episode of The Kelsey Show, which is all motivational comedy to get you laughing and keep you moving to your goals. And you guys, I am freaking out. I'm shaking a little bit, you can't tell. So I'm such a huge fan of the Heather Land.
You're so sweet.
Otherwise known as the I Ain't Doing It lady. We have so much to talk about, but let's just go back to the beginning, because you guys know her and love her. It was basically the CrossFit video that went viral.
Right.
And then all of a sudden everybody's talking about I Ain't Doing It.
That's what I hear.
So let's talk about what led up to that big turning point for you.
Sure. So I'm sure you already know it was a big accident, right? The whole thing was an accident that we've just kind of learned to ebb and flow with. But I was just working a job I was refinancing, actually. I've been a musician most of my life, and upon divorce had to kind of get a big girl job. And so just working behind a desk and making stupid Snapchat videos with my friends, and on a dare, put a couple of those up, and people started watching them, and a blogger actually reached out to me and said, I love your videos, can I post one on my page? And I was like, sure. And she encouraged me to start a fan page, which I did, and it went from 750 followers to 45,000 in about 2 hours, and then from there it's just gone nuts. Yeah, I mean, it was literally just like that. So
this is in like the span of a few days, a week?
So from the first video, I put up a few videos on my personal page. The truth is, I didn't even know I said I ain't doing it in the first video. I had to go back and watch it. I had no clue. So people said, can you make more I Ain't Doing It videos? So I think I put up 2 more, and on the third video, which was maybe a week or so later, that's when the blogger reached out. And on September the 6th of last year, 2017, that's when I put up that fan page, and it's been wild ever since.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we know there's going to be some haters and some trolls who are like, well, she made a viral video. Okay, lots of people make viral videos, y'all. You never see them again. Right. Now you're touring across the U.S. You have an album coming out. You have a book deal coming out.
Right.
So you did something right in between it exploding. The CrossFit video just goes bonanza. What did you do at that point? When I walked in, I was thinking, I would have been like, I guess, like, do I get a lawyer? Do I better hire an assistant? I mean, what happens?
I was deer in a headlight. Like, I had no clue. But in some beautiful way, I had reconnected with a couple of old friends whom I'd been friends with for about 25 years. And they really steered me in the right direction. One of them is now my assistant. Her husband is my business partner. But they happened to be there from the beginning, and I just went to them and said, I have no clue what to do. People are wanting T-shirts. They're wanting, all these things. The numbers are going up. What do we do? And luckily, I just, here's the key.
Okay, right.
Being honestly able to say, I don't know what I'm doing. Can you help me? Who around me knows what I can do with this? And putting the right people in place. And luckily, I had the right people in place, and I was willing to listen and kind of be led in a lot of these business ventures that I'm quite honestly not sure how to navigate. I can navigate the creative side. The business side is trickier for me. So I definitely think the key is, that I had the right people around me.
I think that's so key, you guys. Admitting we don't know everything, which
Right.
is not really, I mean, it's social media. We're all supposed to have all the answers.
Right, we have
today.
pride issues, for sure.
Serious
Yeah.
pride. That's
Right.
the perfect way to say it.
We do.
We need therapy. Everybody needs therapy.
We do.
But so let's talk about that relationship, the business manager part.
Sure.
Because I think a lot of you gals and guys watching with great creative ideas need that piece.
Yeah,
That
for
is
sure.
so key.
For sure.
So how did he help? What were some of the first few things you guys worked on together?
I think that, because it was so just mass chaos from the beginning, a lot of things started flowing in. So he was really able to help me facilitate those things. He was helping me to weed out. I remember even in the beginning, I would say, I got this email. And he's like, that's spam. Like, we don't listen to that. But then there were other things that would come in, and I was like, I think this is like, a joke. This is spam. And he's like, no, that's somebody wanting to offer you a book deal. We need to, answer them. So just kind of having the smarts enough to know what was what. He was very good at that and helping me facilitate all these things coming in. And then I think the great balance between he and I is that he's very much logistical, and the thought process is very business for him. For me, it's about am I feeling it from this person? How do I feel about this? So we were able to really have that good balance of feels and reality, because sometimes feels are not reality, right? So we were able to have that good balance. But he was, I think, at the beginning, and still just able to really help me navigate the influx of all that was coming at me, and being able to weed out what was necessary and good for this brand that we're creating, and what is unnecessary.
Yeah, and he, I guess, takes some equity then?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, he's my business partner,
And that's another thing. I mean, if you want to grow, I feel like some people want to keep complete control. I think that's a great lesson, that you were able to partner with someone and give up some of that in order to have the help you needed.
Yeah, and as our business grows, we are bringing in more people, and we're utilizing more people. But what I'm realizing is that if it weren't for these people, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, right? So I'm happy to to share, to speak, really.
Yeah, and you don't have to do it all, which is amazing.
Sure, it's worth it for me. It is worth, it's worth kind of giving up a piece of the pie to make a bigger piece of the pie for myself, essentially, right? Because it is business. Right. So, yeah.
Okay, so you got your business partner and assistant right away, and then, like you said, there's merch. You're going on tour. You have an album, a music album coming out. All these things. Did you immediately start hiring more assistants or contractors, or how do you scale so big in just 1 year?
Right, it's very difficult. So my business partner and my assistant, who is actually more than an assistant, really where she thrives and where we are the greatest and the best is she's a big creative end for me. She really helps me with the creative piece. But we had to kind of she did all the things for a long time, and he has done all the things for a long time to figure out, okay, this is really what we're good at. She's figured out where she lands. He's kind of figuring out where he lands. And in that process, we've been able to pull in people and say, we thought we could do this on our own, or we thought we were good at this, but we're finding that we're really not. Could you help us with this piece of the puzzle? Could you help us? So we're learning who to bring in by trial and error. We're learning who to bring in because we've tried to do it and realized we can't, right? So I think not only was I able to say, I don't know what I'm doing, but the people around me are humble enough to say, we don't have all the answers either. Let's pull in more people to keep this thing going. Yeah. And so as far as, all these other pieces of the puzzle, the book, got a book deal, just dropped an album. Some of those things we just looked at and said, okay, we need to take advantage of where we're at. I had a really good friend in Nashville who was a producer, and so we were like, hey, let's jump in there and make a record. Yeah. So we kind of initiated that. the book deals kind of came our way, and we were able to interview different publishers for that. So some things we go after, some things come in. Either way, we're able to facilitate it and lay it out there and see what we need to do.
Awesome. Okay, so I know just from, diving into entrepreneurship, the business growth is hard, but also there's a lot of personal growth. Like it's like
For
all
sure.
of a sudden you have to face all your issues. And you had so much growth in just 1 year.
Right.
I'm like, how? So what was that like? Plus you're a mom, which I'm like, how, Heather?
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. You know what? I keep saying it, but truly, it takes a village. So I think number one is just having people around me. Even my business partner and my creative partner, my assistant, they're also like co-parents with me. I'm a single mom, so we live a mile apart. We actually lived together for a while, and they help me with my kids, and we have a team that helps do it all. It's hard to juggle, and when this first started, I remember people started emailing and texting and calling, wanting me to come and do events, and I said to Tasha, my friend, my assistant, I said, what are they wanting me to do? And she's like, comedy. And I said, I'm not a comedian. I don't know how to do comedy. And she's like, well, you can either keep being a refinancer or you can learn. And so right there, we sat and wrote out a 2-hour comedy set together. And then we kind of tweaked it and honed it in on the road as we were traveling.
Please
and
pause. I have done stand-up, y'all. An HBO, Netflix, whatever special is maybe an hour. Usually 30 minutes. You're talking about like 90 minutes on stage.
Right.
I mean, well done you. That is crazy.
Right. Thanks.
That is crazy.
Well, luckily I have the music aspect, so that takes up a little time. It fills the gaps. How about we just do some music while we're at it?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that was very challenging, and it challenged really the core of who I am. And the great thing about it is it was such a risk, and it was so scary, and I cried a lot. And I said many times, I cannot do this. But a year later, it makes me like cry right now a little bit. Like a year later, I'm realizing I can do it, and I am, and I'm not that shabby at it. I think I can do this. So I think key is just, and I remember Tasha said it to me at the very beginning. I actually put it on my computer at my desk while I was refinancing. Do it afraid. Just do it afraid. You don't have to feel good about it. You don't have to know how to do all the things, but whatever the thing is, do it afraid. And so that's been kind of a motto this year. Write a book, afraid. Even accept a double book deal, afraid. What am I going to write about? I don't know. Do it afraid. Make a new record, afraid. Stand, on a stage in front of 2,000 people and tell jokes, afraid. And I do it all the time. I just keep doing it afraid. Parent my children in this new, career, afraid. Am I screwing them up? I don't know. Just do it afraid. So that's kind of a...
I love that. That is key mindset work. Also, did you deal with some, identity and... you just changed overnight.
Yeah.
Public, you get recognized in airports and stuff.
Right.
How did you have to sort of pep talk yourself up into that you could do it?
Oh, I still do.
Before you go on stage?
Yeah, it's easier now because I am finally at a place where I can say, if you ask me, what do you do? I say, I'm a comedian. I literally just got to that point about a month ago. Before that, I was like, well, I do a lot of things, But now I'm starting to be confident in the fact that I may not always feel like I know what I'm doing, but I know that I am supposed to be doing it. So I'm confident in that to the point that I can say, this is who I am. But yeah, it's taken me a solid year of week in, week out, traveling, doing the thing, to be able to say, this is who I am. And to be able to say, I haven't turned into somebody new. This was always in me. I just didn't know it. This was always part of who I was. I've always been sarcastic. I've always been funny, essentially. So now I'm just doing it on a stage. I never wanted to be a comedian, but that doesn't mean I haven't been a comedian.
Right, yeah.
Or that I couldn't do it now.
Yeah.
So I think that was a hard thing for me to embrace, was that I'm not changing personalities. I'm just really using my personality to the fullest.
Yeah, and leaning into those gifts.
Absolutely.
I love that. Let's talk about mom guilt.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
It's real.
I mean, I travel too, and it's like every time, and it gets easier and easier. But I mean, things family members say, God bless them.
For sure.
Things strangers on the internet say. So how do you deal with that? How have you? I think it's interesting to talk to people who parent in a non-traditional way. There's no 8-to-5 job anymore. You know, how does that look for you?
I know that most people do 8 to 5, and that is a love for them and that works for them. That doesn't work for me. It never really has. Even when I worked behind a desk, I was very grateful for my job, but I knew in my heart this is not who I am. And so I'm very confident in the fact that my life doesn't look like everybody else's, and I'm okay with that. My children were birthed, given to me, knowing that this is who I am. And so I just parent out of that the best way I know how. I did spend many, many years at home. I homeschooled for a little bit. I'm homeschooling now, except that it does look different because I'm on the road. But I was always home. I was always the stabilizing force. Now I'm not. But during that time, we also did a lot of traveling. So I think that that path has kind of led us to this point. So my children are not totally shocked by it. Right. I think the fact that I have been stable for them all these years, but that we also did travel, now lets them see, okay, mommy's just continuing the travel, but she is still stable for us. I think they know that. I hope that I've spent enough years, driving that home. So I just have to go out knowing this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now, and trusting that, I'm not screwing them up. The truth is, I don't know if I am or not, but I know my intentions and I know my heart, and I am always, and I hope I always will be willing to say, Mommy doesn't know what she's doing sometimes, and I'm gonna do it wrong. Forgive me, I'm sorry, and hope that that's enough.
Yeah.
Really.
How old are they?
My son's 15. My daughter is almost 12.
So I know there's going to be homeschoolers who want to know, how do you do that when you're gone? If you're homeschooling.
Right. So luckily, I've been divorced for 5 years. Their dad has recently moved to Nashville to be close to them, which is wonderful. So he helps facilitate a lot of the homeschool. They go to a tutorial.
Okay.
My daughter twice a week, my son once a week. So I'm sort of just really the homework police. That's really what I am. So they're able to do homework on the road if they come on the road, which they do sometimes, or they stay home and do it there. So yeah, I have help. Again, that's the only way to do it.
And you don't post them. You don't post. I haven't seen very many pictures with them or any of that. Right. So that's a decision you made, like a conscious, I'm not going to put them online, or you're still trying to figure that out?
Yeah, I think I'm still trying to figure that out. I did post a picture of the three of us when we went to the beach. We did a beach giveaway for a single mom.
Oh, cool.
And I posted a picture of the three of us so people could connect with that side of me.
It probably got like a bajillion likes, right?
It did.
People love people's babies.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They love, I think, seeing that I'm normal,
yeah,
whatever normal means, But, so I'm not against it, but I try to be cautious of that. It's my life, so I'm not opposed to it, but, moderation, right?
Yeah, and they're tweens and teens, so what do they think? They probably have some strong opinions about...
Yes, my daughter thinks it's the most fabulous thing in the whole world. My son is getting there. He, at first, is just like, you're an idiot. I cannot believe this, really. But now he comes to the shows and he sees all the people and he's like, Mom, I think this is a thing. And I'm like, it seems to be a thing.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah,
and you talked about stepping into being a comedian, and you're selling out all of your shows across the U.S. Congratulations.
Thank
you're
you.
Clearly doing it right. And they're even, which I think is even more impressive with the Snapchat filter part of it. Because people are now coming to see you live and in person.
Right.
And there's a disassociation, I think, that happens because they're so used to just like this.
That's right.
So it's just an amazing feat. And I wanted to talk a little bit about your creative process.
Sure.
You've always been funny, clearly, and that's in your personality. But then all of a sudden you have to crank videos out. Like right. You become a machine. So how did you figure out a creative sort of flow?
That's a great question, because the truth is I had great creative flow for a really long time. Now I feel a little bit more spread thin, truthfully. I just wrote my first book, getting ready for a second book and a book tour. I'm fixing to write a Christmas tour, going on a little mini Christmas tour, and had to write a comedy set, right? So the creativity is is being utilized in every possible way. So at first the videos were easy. You know, I worked 9 to 5. I'd go sit in my car on my lunch break, crank out a video. Easy. 90 videos in, it's a lot more challenging. The truth is, I have a bigger team now. I have a tour manager who's also extremely creative. We literally talked this morning because I went in and said, I'm really struggling on the creative end with videos, you know, like what do I do to keep this going? I think team is going to be key. We're actually meeting about it this week, you know, but there again, having the people around me that say, let's figure out how to not burn you out, but how to keep you creative, that is key. But yeah, I don't always have the answer for that. Other people around me, I think, are going to be the answer. Other creative people pulling that out of me. I have to be responsible to not spread myself too thin. That's key. I think I'm going to have to take breaks, you know, just to rejuvenate. I remember when I wrapped up my book, I think I finished it June 1st, and I literally near the end was like, it's like squeezing blood out of a turnip. I have nothing left to say, nothing. I stepped away for 2 months, got my manuscript back. My editor said, I need 2 more chapters, and I was like, done. Because I had stepped away. So I think rejuvenating and taking a mental break, not forcing yourself continually, that's key, I think, yeah.
I think it's super, super brave, and another creative thing to add to your plate, to add music to your tour, and to just, and like you all know, she's living all my hopes and dreams, right? Because I just started adding music in. Everybody knows that when I was in high school, I thought I was going to be a musician. That was going to be the thing. Also have led worship forever.
Yes.
Right? So I'm just like,
oh, right, pastor's kid.
Yes.
That's right.
So, how did you have to convince anyone, like, no, let me do music on stage, even though they're not expecting it? The audience doesn't even know you sing. Were you nervous about bringing music into your brand, which, you know, was just comedy?
The short answer is no, because that's really at the heart of me, is my music. Although I know where I fall on the musical totem pole. Like, I'm not the greatest piano player. I'm not the greatest songwriter. I'm not the greatest singer. But it's definitely a passion. And luckily, the people around me pushed me to do it. Oh, good. And I think part of it was they really believe in the music. And the other part is, I think because they are also creative on the business side, I think they look at it like, there's a lot of comedians out there and there's a lot of musicians out there, but there's not a lot of comedians being musicians. Let's see where this takes us. So I love that they're willing to take a risk, right? Yes. So I haven't had any no pushback from the people I work with, nor from the audience. I think so far, knock on wood, it's a nice surprise for people. I think it changes it up a little bit. So far so good. You know, I don't know, we'll see, but.
So, looking back over everything, what would you say is your number one piece of advice for someone who feels like they have all this creativity and all these ideas and they want to break out of their corporate job and try and do something? I mean, I know for you it was a little bit of a fluke, but like you said, you had to decide to quit your job. You had to decide to turn it into a business. So if you had to pick one major piece of advice for them, what would it be?
Stay authentic. I think you have to be true to who you are. I think that when we give in to what society wants us to be, we get off track. So I think, you know, if that's a dream, great. Follow the dream, but don't lose yourself in it. I think that's where when we start to lose ourselves, I think not only does the fun get sucked out of it, but I think it doesn't end up being what it's supposed to be, you know? So I hate to say, like, I'm definitely not saying wait for it to come to you. You know, obviously it kind of happened for me that way. But I do think if I would not have stayed authentic, it would not be what it is. Mm-hmm. But because I was willing to say, I'm not going to lose myself in this. I'm going to keep, you know, even though I would get backlash from, you know, in comments, or I would get people constantly asking me to sell my page. No, you know, I'm not going to do that. And because I wouldn't give into that and continue to not give into that, I think people appreciate it and it makes them stay connected and still watch. So I think that's the biggest piece of advice is, can I have a couple pieces? Can I add a couple things to that? Yeah. So one is stay authentic. And again, I cannot stress enough, just putting a team around you. Be willing to say, this is what I want to do and I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And then, don't quit. Just do it afraid. It's okay to be afraid and to not feel like you're good at it. If that's what you want to do, keep doing it. My daughter is 11. I got on Instagram a couple days ago and she was doing a makeup tutorial. Every time she puts on her makeup, she does a tutorial. No one was watching except for me. She's like, hi, Mama. I said, hi. And she said, I know nobody watches these, but maybe one day they will. And I'm just like, there's a part of me that wants, right, I know. Part of me is like, no, like what if it doesn't work out? She's going to be heartbroken. But the majority of me says, you do that. You do it afraid, and you do it if nobody watches, and good for you. And I think that's something that all of us can so take into every season of our life is, you know what? Whether one person watches or 5 million people watch, if this is what you feel like you're supposed to be doing, then you do it.
Did you want to quit over the last year?
Of course. I wanted to quit before I started. I literally said to my team, I'm not doing comedy. I am not a comedian. And they kept telling me, then you're going to keep being a refinancer. And I was like, I'm a comedian. I'm a comedian now.
Yeah, that did it.
Yeah, so I obviously wanted to quit for sure.
Did you get, like when you started, the first thing happened where it was millions and millions. What was the first big hit? Was it like 20 million or something on the CrossFit?
Well, honestly, the first few videos were hitting just 1, 2, 3 million.
Oh, they were. Okay.
A lot of them have hit, 12, 13 million, 15. But when that first started, I think that's when I was like, it's very surreal because that wasn't my goal. I wasn't looking for it to hit something.
Right.
So there's a part of me that's like, oh man, there's like 2 million people that watch this. But, and I'm like, oh my gosh. The other part of me is like, okay. Like, I don't know how to process it. Even, I look at the numbers on the CrossFit video. I see that 23 million people have watched it. It doesn't feel like 23 million people. And I think part of the reason is because I feel very connected to my fans. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of feels like an extended family. Like, I don't see it in numbers. That's what my business partners are there for. Yeah. They read numbers. I read people.
Do you get a lot of hate? Do you deal with negative
comments? Oh, yeah.
Does that bother you, or did you get used to it? Or
the first few months, it absolutely incapacitated me.
Really?
Oh, for sure. I would cry. And, they're not understanding who I am. This is not really, the things they're saying about me are terrible. Now I'm like, because I've put myself out there. This is part of it. You have to take the good with the bad. And I think you have to be very grounded in who you are to be able to take the hate. And one thing that I think is important is, for me personally, for every 2 people that hate me, there are 20,000 that will defend me. And sometimes I think we let the 2 really take us out instead of going, but I have 20,000, 20 million that feel the opposite. It's perspective. It's a perspective change. Yeah.
Love that. Okay, so looking back over your whole journey, what would you say was the absolute worst part so far in the last year and the absolute best part?
The worst part is having to figure out who I am in all of this. And the best part has been having to figure out who I am in all of this. Gotcha. It's been really difficult to push and say, okay, I'm gonna give this a go. It's been hard to take a risk and so worth it to take a risk. So yeah, the very thing that's been the difficulty has proven to be the beauty in it all. Yeah.
So great. So many little tweetables. Okay, we'll be right back after this with Fast Facts.
All right, guys, I wanted to ask you, if you're enjoying this interview, if you would show some love. You could give it a thumbs up, you can take a screen grab and give me a shout out on Instagram. You can share it with a friend who you know will love it. The Kelsey Show is brought to you totally free for 2 reasons. One, I work my face off as a motivational entertainer. I'm an international keynote speaker. You can actually book me to speak at your event, your conference, your meetup, your book club, your kid's baptism. I'm here for it. Just go go to KelseyHumphreys.com. There's a link there on the homepage. And to viewers like you who support me by buying my books and limited edition swag and all that kind of stuff that can be found on the shop page. Again, just go to KelseyHumphreys.com and you'll find it there. Let's get to the goods on how we take insights from such a super successful person and apply it to our, everyday lives. So here are my top few keys to success for the rest of us. From my interview with Heather Land. Number 1, give the people what they want. All industries are crowded industries. So if you have a clear, bright spot, a clear spot where something is working, focus on what's working. Number 2, bring others into your vision. I love that she said the key is admitting you don't know how to do it all. And immediately she brought on other people that could help her take her vision and continue beyond just viral videos. Number 3, stay flexible and be willing to experiment. As she brought others into the vision, she admitted that they all had to wear all the hats, try different things, and work to stay flexible and find more people to fill more roles as they were growing. This is a key to growing fast, and you have to be willing to give up control as part of staying flexible. Number 4, strike while the iron is hot. This could be the overarching theme of the entire interview, but I love that she said, okay, sure, a lot of opportunities came to me, but I had to go out and get some opportunities as well. For example, her music album. Number 5, take care of yourself and your creativity. I love talking to entrepreneurs about those first few years of growth, and there is no denying that you have to hustle your face off. You have to work hard. You have to go all in. But I love that she said it's her responsibility to guard her creativity and keep herself full so that she can keep pouring out. Number 6, do it afraid. I love that she talked about this because you all know I recently moved to LA and I'm changing things in my business and my career and the whole show. And I love that she talked about it's not just professionally. She has to figure out how to do a new way of parenting. You have to figure out a new way of doing self-care, a new way of doing your schedule, a new way of doing life once things start to take off for you. And all of that is scary. Change is scary. And I love that she said you just have to do it all and do it afraid. Lastly, stay true to your vision. It is so inspiring to me that she added music right away on her tour, got her country album, decided this is my moment, I'm going to make my music. Because she could have just said, well, I'm just going to be a comedian now and I'm going to let music go. But she stayed true to her heart. As you all know, I have done the same thing over time, adding more comedy sketches and music videos within my own umbrella of this channel because I believe in my heart that's what I'm meant to do. And there's no way that you can keep on hustling if your heart's not in it, if it doesn't match your God-given vision. So I love that she did that, and I hope that you will do that too with your vision, dreams, and goals.
We are back with Heather Land. We're going to do fast facts. I wish I had thought ahead. I would have asked if we could sing a duet or done a sketch or something together. But you don't, when I get these amazing people, they have like 30 minutes. She's about to do a performance tonight. So you guys are going to have to settle for fast facts. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Answer as fast as you can. Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Starbucks order?
Non-fat latte.
That's pretty simple. Yeah. Early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Winter or summer?
Winter.
Wine or beer?
Beer.
Or other?
Other. And beer.
What's the other?
Gin.
Ooh. Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Scrabble or charades?
Charades.
What is the wallpaper on your phone?
I take that back, Scrabble.
It's a tough call. I love them both.
Oh gosh, I'm not good at charades. My children.
What's the last thing you remember Googling?
What is the last thing I Googled?
You're on tour. It was probably something like
I think it was
restaurant or...
I could look something stupid. Can I pass and come back?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Recent book you read?
The Subtle Art of Not Giving.
Yeah. Was it good?
I'm almost done with it. It's fabulous.
And favorite fiction book? Do you have one?
I really don't. No.
Do you read a lot of fiction?
I don't.
That's why I don't have a favorite. One word you're guilty of saying too often.
I don't know that.
Beth Mom?
Not Tasha?
No.
I say no too often? I think I say yes too often. That's why I'm tired.
Last awkward situation you were in?
Last awkward situation I was in. You know what? Last night's performance got a little awkward. There were a couple of hecklers in the crowd, and you have to really think on the fly, when you got just people with each other getting crazy, getting in fights. So those are always, those are kind of awkward.
Have you had any weird fan interactions, like getting mobbed at Walgreens or something?
Nothing crazy. There are always a couple of crazies, sometimes that come with meet and greets.
No.
but they're pretty tame for the most part.
Last vacation you took?
Paris, France.
Oh, was that awesome?
It was amazing.
Sounds awesome. Hobby?
Music.
What is a bad habit you have?
Coffee.
Same.
Yeah.
Ice cream flavor?
Not an ice cream fan, really. I would cookies and cream.
Okay. Favorite dessert then?
Anything with sugar in it. all the things. All the desserts.
Okay, guilty pleasure TV show?
Gosh. I don't really watch a whole lot of TV. The Office.
No, I'm rewatching that right
Yeah.
now. Favorite snack?
Favorite snack, cheese and crackers.
Favorite music right now?
Foy Vance is my favorite right now. Yeah, he's Irish and really hitting all the notes for me. No pun intended.
And then what is your biggest pet peeve?
Wow. Well, I'm sarcastic, so there's a lot.
I was going to say, I feel like the I ain't doing it chick would have plenty.
Probably, can I,
Top few?
Top few pet peeves. Passive-aggressive people are a really big pet peeve for me. That's a difficult.
And then what would your kids say is their biggest pet peeve that you do?
So many. Biggest pet peeve that my kids would say. Probably like not letting them leave anything in the living room before they go to bed. Making them, like everything has to be picked up. A little bit of an OCD.
Are you off your OCD a little bit?
Sometimes.
Does that mean your house is tidy?
My house is pretty tidy. Yeah.
Hashtag goals. Okay, tell us what is next for you. You've got so much going on. I guess the Christmas album, right? What else?
I have a Christmas tour coming up. The country album is out. I have a Christmas tour coming up, and you can check those dates. They haven't dropped yet, but you can check them on the website.
And tell
Heatherland Official. We're among the Heatherland
that
Official.
one. Yeah.
.com, or you can look at the Facebook page. Heatherland, I ain't doing it. The book comes out in the spring.
Woohoo!
I ain't doing it. So we have that coming up. Probably another tour next year, and a book signing tour. A lot of great things. We have some things that are kind of on the hush hush that we're looking into for next year. So it's going to be a good 2019. I think.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. This has been so great. I know my peeps are going to love it. And break a leg tonight. And thank you for fitting us in today.
Yeah, and you are lovely. Thank you so much. And just want to really thank all the fans that I just have the greatest fans in my life. So just thanks to everybody. Yeah.